Hi, Julie Stewart.
Hi, Julie Püttgen.
Hello. I'm really excited to be talking with you again about weaving wisdom.
Me too.
Yeah, yeah.
We had so
So,
much fun last year. We decided to do it again twice.
we-
We're doing it in Vermont in July and here a little ways outside of Atlanta up in the North Carolina mountains in September. And
yay.
we added an extra day. So we start on Thursday night and we end on Sunday afternoon.
Which is delicious and means more time for all of the practices that we're weaving, the five rhythms movement, the soul collage, and the family constellation. And also time to rest without
Mhm.
feeling like we need to fit everything in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little more expansion.
yeah, yeah. And our hope is that people will come into community in joining us and find a way to make this their retreat, their
Yeah.
community experience, their chance to try something new or to try something very familiar and really just savor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
feel like what's interesting about this is that
Mm.
we're weaving three different things.
Mm.
I'm bringing the five rhythms and movement practice, and you're bringing soul collage and family constellations. And both of us have had experience in all three of these different modalities. Um, and what I found last year to be so fascinating was what you brought in with the work that we did with the elements. We use the elements and five rhythms, and I've known this map for like 15 plus years now, but I learned things about the elements, earth, fire, water, air, and ether that I hadn't known before, which
Mm.
was really cool. And like the people who come in with experience in five rhythms got to do soul collage, and the folks who had experience in soul collage got to do five rhythms. And so like there were these beautiful unveilings that happened as we married these practices together. And then the family
Yeah.
constellation work, which was it relates really well to five rhythms, but it has this whole ritualistic soul excavation thing that happens that was extra
Yeah.
rich too.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I a lot of the ways that I've trained in family constellations have felt kind of static and like there's
Mhm.
so much that's kind of moving through and it doesn't always have a place to go physically. So to
Yeah.
have you leading us in these beautiful, beautiful waves that can like let whatever's coming up in the family constellations work and in the finding resources through soul collage to just give all of that a chance to move through. And I remember just a couple of opportunities to really celebrate and be in like gladness for what has been traversed, and any of the painful territory that shows up just has a chance to settle in,
Yeah.
and be metabolized. So
Yeah.
yeah, it feels to me like what we're kind of weaving together offers in some ways a more complete um, way of navigating all the complexity that's coming up for everybody in these,
Mhm.
to use your words, fractured, shattered times. Like it's a mess right now in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. And to have the opportunity to kind of weave things back together, to repair, to witness yourself and other people in their wholeness is just such powerful medicine.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to feel more resourced. Yeah. I remember the dance that we did after we did the family constellation work and just how joyful that was. It was the whole room was in complete joy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
joy is an important thing to be practicing these days.
It is, and like real joy, like
Yeah,
not some kind of like
right.
cheap
Performative joy.
tickety tackety. I mean, not the cheap tickety tackety joy doesn't have like a really glittery place in my heart, but they're like real deep, nourishing, like here's the
Mhm.
good soil for you, here's the clean water, here's the air, here's the,
Yeah,
the warmth and the coolness that you need. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're taking people kind of into the wilderness in both cases, right? The
Mhm.
Vermont site that we're inviting people to is in this tiny town of Strafford, Vermont. It takes a little getting there, but we're
Mhm.
here to help you out. And I'm the Northlands connection, and you're the
Yeah,
Southlands connection.
yeah,
It can be done, and we've got some ideas of how to get here. We've got some ideas of places to stay,
yeah.
and it's important to go out of places where your main point of reference is other human beings into places where the green beings are and the animals are, and there's just more space. I think that's
Yeah.
part of what we're offering.
And then the workshop that we do in North Carolina, which is about hour and a half, 2 hours northeast of Atlanta, um, is going to be a residential. And it'll be about the fifth time that I've done a residential at this place that we're going called the Mountain Retreat and Learning Center. And it's actually at the top of a mountain. And you can see in all directions. It's really, really magical. And sometimes we see bears and
Mm,
all that kind of stuff. And the stars
mm,
are brilliant when it's clear. And yeah, it's a
mm.
beautiful, beautiful place to be held in this kind of work.
Yeah. And there's that quality also of, in a variety of different ways, it can be challenging to leave home. But if you give yourself that opportunity, there's that being in a different container where maybe your shape is slightly different, and then you can bring that back with you when you go home. Um,
Mhm.
so, I'm a huge fan of, weekly or bi-weekly, 50-minute therapy, and there's a lot that can happen that way. But so much of the learning that I know I've done and I know you've done in this life has been by stepping out into retreat containers that are a bit more spacious, a bit more time to kind of let
Yeah,
something cook.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a way like we design it and we work with people in a way that at times you can be completely with yourself and it doesn't matter who else is in the room. You're doing your own internal process, you're slowing down, you're getting
Mm,
into your body in a way that you probably haven't maybe in a while.
mm,
And then there's also opportunity to be completely external with your practice and to be in connection with other people and to figure out who you are with this person or with the group
mm,
and
mm,
be witnessed and held as we go
mm.
through this process as a group. So it's both, and we alternate back and forth between those two things, and you can alternate back and forth between those things as
Yeah.
you travel through the journey.
Yeah. It's really powerful not to feel like you have to small talk when you want to be internal, or you have to be alone when you want to be connected. That's that in and of itself is really precious.
Mm.
Yeah.
And we have like I know some people might, if they're coming from the soul collage world or family constellations, they may not have experienced five rhythms or dance movement practice, and vice versa. Some of these modalities, oh, I have to make art, might be a little intimidating. So let's talk about how we can kind of like, lower the threat level a little bit in terms of like, oh my God, I have to dance in front of people and what that's like.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's this really great Laurie Anderson lyric where she says you were born and so you're free, so happy birthday. And I really feel like that's kind of the nature of all of these practices, is that it's not like something you're adding on
Yeah,
that's like external and you have to like learn how to do it right, like hold the right salad fork or whatever the thing is. It's more like it's just your birthright that you have a body.
yeah,
And however your body is at this stage in your life, there's a form of movement that is of that body, and you have eyes and, clever little paws. And so there's some kind of an art making that is of this stage of your life. And, you're in a particular point in time in your relationship to your family of origin and to other big systems that you are a part of. And there's a shape of that for this time in your life. And so I think you and I are both really clear that um, we're not operating in a skill and perfection framework. We're operating in a kind of birthright and authentic awareness framework. Those are
And
really
sometimes
different.
people need to have that permission articulated and offered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know when I first started doing dance movement, I had a fair amount of training in visual art. Um, and I didn't have a lot of training in dance movement.
Yeah.
And
Same.
there was something, yeah. That's actually something we have in common. And there was something so delightful just to find out, oh, wait,
Right.
you know, look what
Right.
look what this being is capable of.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
And when we talk about dance, I mean, we're
Mhm.
just talking about moving your body. Like in five rhythms, your dance can look like anything you want it to be. It can just be, like this is dancing in five rhythms. And we
Yeah.
welcome people with any kind of ability. You can do the entire workshop sitting in a chair or from the ground. We have so many ways to support people as they, move through the 4 days with us. Um,
Yes.
and it's really about just being present and aware with where you are. Like I'm in a
Yeah.
situation where I have a fair amount of physical pain sometimes when I dance that I have to take care and manage, and that's just the way it goes. So
Yeah.
sometimes my dance is from a chair or from the floor, and
Yeah.
it's just what you do with a beautifully aging body.
Same. I was at a dance last night that was like a lot of just like just kind of deep wriggling
Yeah, and it
going
goes
on for
so
a long time.
internal and it gives you
Yeah.
a whole different experience. It's
Yeah.
so good to get these
Yeah.
different perspectives.
Yeah. And the retreat last year and then shaping up the retreats this year are multi-generational groups. The people
Yeah,
from their like 20s to their like late 70s
yeah,
all showing up, 80s, and that's great.
yeah.
And that's also an important invitation because in this society, as at least as I experience it often, I am more with my age peers, and
Mhm.
I love
Yeah,
my age peers, but I also really enjoy being with a real spectrum
yeah.
of ages and
It's like an
experiences.
actual village. Should be.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And same with like, this being an overtly and obviously like queer welcoming space and overtly and like
Mhm.
explicitly, welcoming space for folks of all different kinds of, physical manifestations and abilities and just every kind of background, every kind of race and ethnicity and all of that is just like it's important actually. If you feel in any way called to do this, chances are that you're being called to do this. And, I
Mhm.
love the one of my constellations teachers, Francesca Mason Boring says that our ancestors are like working in the background really hard to like get
Mhm.
us to do the things that we sort of intuit that we might like to do like this.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. And as you were talking a little while ago about how this is a birthright, it made me
Mhm.
think about how, like, indigenous cultures, everybody made art, everybody danced, everybody knew the lineage in the families. And so it's kind of like we're recovering these things for ourselves, these ways of
Yeah.
actually being human that have
Right.
been foreign somehow. And
Right.
we're
These
doing
ways
it
of
and we're doing it in a way that is so easily accessible. Like
Mhm.
Gabrielle Roth always says, if you have a body, you're a dancer.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you can pick up a pencil, you can make art.
Right. Right. And there's a sense in which um, the world needs us all to figure out how to be indigenous to our own
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
I mean, desperately needs us to figure that out, how to be indigenous to this world, how to be indigenous to ourselves, how to
Yeah.
live together in ways that are, based on reciprocity and listening. And
Yeah. Can I read the quote by Jaya John?
yes.
It's so beautiful. To control a population, you need the people to be afraid, desperate, exhausted, distracted, cynical, and hopeless.
Mm.
We need you in your courage, caring for yourself,
Mm.
focused, discerning, faithful, and rooted in your soul power and sacred relations. Chills. Society is you. You are the resistance and the medicine. The generations are praying. You embody their prayer on earth. Gather your songs. You are needed by the fire. We will be in the ceremony for many moons to come.
Mm. Mm. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that feels like kind of a good place to stop, huh?
it does.
All right. Well,
So we hope to see you soon in Vermont in July. And then
yeah,
if you can't make Vermont or if you want to do both, in September in North Carolina.
that's great.
And the information is all on our website, weavingwisdom.com.
Weavingwisdomworkshops.com.
Weaving Wisdom Workshops. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. All right. Mwah.